For you, who is going to be playing Galway in this year's senior final?
Well, I suppose Galway are kind of smiling there and saying, you know, let whoever comes on, come true. I just have the feeling it's going to be Kilkenny. All year I thought Tipperary were doing enough to win it, but the closer it comes, Kilkenny picked a very strong team again. They're nearly back to full fitness.
People are saying that Galway would prefer if it was Tip.
Well, you see down there they'll be saying you can't beat Kilkenny twice, but wouldn't it nice to beat them twice? Talking to the management team, I don't think they mind because they feel they're in a very good place. They seem to have kind of a newfound spirit and newfound kind of physicality, intensity, and they won the last day, Michael, not playing really, really brilliant, which suits them. And whoever wins here today between Tip and Kilkenny will be favourites going into the final, so it'll actually suit Galway. No, they still have to win it. But like these are the two top teams in the country for the last number of years. It promises to be a great game. And someone said to me outside in Croke Park, you know, they said the GA could do a bit of extra money. Maybe this will be a draw. So like, you know, it's that tight. You know, but like the stats for the last few years show 657 to 656, or 756 to 755, or something like that, over the course of the few years. So just show you how tight it is. I've just a feeling that Kilkenny will just scrape through.
The nice one about this is, Ger, that it's not the All-Ireland final, which would be a repeat of the last 3 years again, kind of, and yet it is obviously such an attractive match.
Well, there's no point in telling that to the supporters on the way in that it's not the All-Ireland, because it's always very interesting to speak to them on the way into the match, you know. And today there's a real air of caution, even tension among the supporters coming in today. Kilkenny people saying this could be the end of the road, they're not sure whether it's going to go. Tipperary people saying, you know, they're not that sure. Have they improved that much from last year's All-Ireland, you know? So parked in front of me today on the way in was a car with, as Cyril says there about the draw, with Tipperary colours on the one side, Kilkenny colours on the other side, the husband dressed in the Kilkenny colours, the wife dressed in the Tipperary colours, so maybe he's right. Maybe it could be a draw, and it's that tight. It's impossible to call with any conviction as to who's going to win this game, and that's what makes it so intriguing.
It is, and that's the general consensus of this one, Tomas.
Yeah, and look, I disagree with you as regards to the tension, maybe the build-up and stuff like that, because All-Ireland final day brings its own pressure. You have a 3-week build-up to it, you have the media, you have the press, you know. I mean, we saw last year, we were all expecting a classic game last year. We probably didn't get the game we expected, and probably was too much tension. This time around, semi-final, you know, it will be a defining moment. There will be it is a defining game, will be defining moments for some players if they lose, or, you know. But at the end of the day, I think the pressure's off most of them today, that we could maybe see even better than what we've seen in the last 3 years, that they will go hammer tongs at each other. There is, when I say no pressure, there is pressure to win, but on the individuals themselves, it's about now going out and expressing themselves. And if we see these two teams express themselves the way we've seen over the last couple of years, we are in for a cracking game. And I think that is the beauty of hurling at the moment.
Before all that, sir, we have the minor match, of course, Galway against Tip. I've seen
good in championship hurling, mightn't be as good in the league match, but he's deadly in the championship hurling, good in the air and good to read it. Like here now against Limerick, like he has this ability to get onto a ball, has a little look up and bang away, kind of good striker, very good for long range frees as well. Here he comes again, now he gets away with a tackle here, I'd say jumps a lad over the sideline. You know, but like there's times when you have to do that as well. Now Pádraig Maher is always in the half back position. Young Stapleton is the new lad this year. Again, he's going to little pop pass out here, a little flick, has a look up and bang her away again. He comes back to, he's there the whole time. Again now, this ball is going to break around here, so once he gets near block down here, get onto it again. If he gets onto it anywhere near a sniff of it all, he'd have it gone. Cuts across, always around, picking up behind the wing backs, drives it forward. But to have a nice half back line, if Stapleton fits in with him along with Pádraig Maher and the two boys midfield, Brendan Maher and Shane McGrath, that's the real kind of engine of this team. Again, a lovely little flick pass here, bang up the field. He's so pivotal, you know. TJ Reid is picked centre forward, but I think even after 5 or 7 minutes, you'll see that the whole Kilkenny tackle, it kind of tried to drag him out. Last year they dragged him out of the centre, tried to move him away, but O'Mahony will try to hold back in the middle, hold the pocket, and let the wing backs do all the running rather than he, because if he's dragged out of the middle, that's where Kilkenny tried to go down that centre.
Ger, over the years, obviously, like any other sport, hurling has changed, tactics have changed, styles have changed. I know it's a hobby horse of Babs Keating that the slither is too light, driving it too far down the field. You still need two good midfielders, and Kilkenny will be relying on their two men today.
It's actually more important than ever, you know, and you don't have to be any great hurling expert to realise the importance of these two men, Mick Finlay and Michael Rice to Kilkenny. Finlay is an extra forward when needed, coming through from midfield. You see the goal there in last year's All-Ireland, decisive goal. He also acts as a defender. Ferocious physical power. See that tackle there on Shane McGrath last year, which put Shane really out of the game. And you know, Rice the same way. Rice comes into the game now. Watch this pass of Finlay. He has brilliant vision as well. You know. He has everything you'd need in here at the forward here. Ball in the net, game over. Now, Michael Rice is a different type of player. He's a lighter type of player, very good at picking out points from far out the field. But really, we shouldn't speak about midfield anymore, because the dreaded football phrase of the middle third is what we should be talking about, because that's where all the action is now, between both 45 metres lines. And if you haven't a man with physical presence there, you're going to be blown out of it. Look what Ian Tanyan and Andy Smith did the last day to Galway, to Kilkenny in the Leinster final. He is Finlay is just vital. You know, if there was a transfer market outside of Joe Kenny, he'd be the next most important player. But, you know, that is where the real battle is going to be fought today, in that middle third. It's going to be very, very crowded, and you're going to need men like Finlay and like Rice there, men with physique in that place today.
Big hits.
Big hits.
Well, the intensity of the Galway-Kilkenny match is still being talked about, but sure, look, Kilkenny and Tip are doing this since Adam was a small boy.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I'd rather than picking out an individual. I mean, I'm just looking at the rivalry that's between Tipperary and Kilkenny. It's just immense, you know, and what it means to the players themselves, which is the most important thing. I mean, this is amateur game, amateur sportsmanship. Yeah, it's borderline. It's probably on the edge. You need a very good referee at times. Look, you see a Hurley fly space out of space there. And look, I mean, this is what we expect, and this is why it captures everybody's imagination. I mean, I was speaking to two guys in the hotel prior to the match. They're from Mayo, 36 years coming. You know, you're saying from Mayo coming down. Maybe they should be coming in 2 weeks' time for the football. No, it's down to see the hurling. Loads of kids alongside us from Cushendall, all down to see the quality of this. I mean, we've seen the physicality stakes. We've seen the fitness levels that these guys actually achieved. But most importantly, Michael, it's the skill level as well. I mean, they've enthralled us with the skills, the goal scoring, and sometimes we talk about the marquee players all the time, and we forget about the other guys. The guys that are out there have a job to do as well. The hooking, the blocking, getting in there. Do not let your opponent dominate. And we're going to see a whole lot of that today, hopefully.
We sure are. Time now to hear from the managers and their thoughts ahead of this afternoon's intriguing showdown. They are, of course, Tipperary boss Declan Ryan, Kilkenny's Brian Cody, and they've been speaking to Claire McNamara.
Declan, we're all set for another chapter in this great rivalry, and of course a chance for you to avenge last year's final defeat.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this game for a while. You know, we know it's a massive game for us, for the players and for the management and everyone in Tipperary concerned with the game of hurling, and we're really looking forward to it.
Of course, Kilkenny have suffered a defeat this summer. Does that make them more vulnerable?
Yeah, well, you know, I suppose it shows they can be beaten, but you know, it also it gives them that extra edge that, you know, that if they don't play the form on any given day, that a team like Tip or Galway can beat them.
Brian, I suppose we're more accustomed to this meeting in September. How are Kilkenny?
Yeah, obviously looking forward to it, Claire. You know, it's All-Ireland semi-final and huge day because the prize is All-Ireland final for the winners, and for the losers it's the end of the year, so it's a massive game for both teams.
You came a slightly different route this year. Does that matter at all?
For today's game it doesn't matter, no. I mean, we would prefer the other route. Obviously we'd like to have won the Leinster Championship, but it meant one extra game, a quarter final, and maybe the way we played in the Leinster final, maybe we needed that game.
OK, then who are the men to look out for in today's hurling semi-final with the starting lineups for Tipperary and Kilkenny? It's over to our match comment.
Brendan Cummins starts his 71st championship match for Tipperary as they seek a place in the All-Ireland final for the 4th year in a row. Paul Kern captains a team that sees Brendan Maher and Shane McGrath in the middle of the field. Patrick Bonner-Maher leads the attack with John O'Brien at the edge of the square. Incredibly, Kilkenny are chasing their 7th All-Ireland final appearance in a row. Brian Cody welcomes back Brian Hogan to centre-back. Kieran Joyce gets the nod for the number 7 jersey ahead of Richie Doyle in a side that has a formidable centre-field partnership of Michael Fennelly and Michael Rice. Up front, TJ Reid wears 11 with Henry Shefflin and Owen Larkin on the wings.
Yeah, Marty, and we're seeing Michael Fennelly just jogging over to join the parade there because, Ger, he was being treated up the other end of the pitch, up the Hill 16 for a while there.
Been worrying now for
what looks like a hamstring.
Very worrying from Kilkenny's point of view that it happened. You know, if this is going to be done, to have been done in the dressing room. The fact that it been done on the field shows that during the warm-up he must have felt some kind of a twinge, and we're just after saying how important he is to Kilkenny. But he's back on his feet again. He's in the parade. Now, we have seen a lot of this in the Olympics, you know, this black band and people with hamstring problems. But hopefully that's the end of it. Maybe it's just a twinge, and when he warms up, he'll be okay.
All right, lads, 30 seconds between the three of you. Who's going to win, Cyril?
I think Kilkenny will still do it. Tipperary have a full, complete new up around the right wing. You know, you look at Conor O'Brien, Tommy Stapleton, even Per Buck, if you could transfer his club hurling to his championship hurling, and Brian O'Mara, they're all relatively new for this championship. I just with the feeling Kilkenny will edge it out.
Okay.
I'll keep it short. I think Owen Larkin and Richie Power will come back to that form that they had in the league. They're vital to step up today, especially with the like of Eddie Brennan gone and Richie Hogan missing.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the game of the 4-game series. But at the end of the day, the doors are locked in Kilkenny. I think they're really ready. They're as mentally ready and as physically ready as they possibly could be. We'll see the best of them today, and I expect that'll be enough to get them through.
Yeah, I go against the two lads. I must say, I think Tipperary have been a bit of momentum. If Tipperary to win today, certainly they've got to go back to 2010 performances. They've got to take the game to Kilkenny in the first 10 minutes. We don't have the 10 minutes for Tipper in this game or not.
Yeah.
Tip for me.
Okay, lads, thanks for that. It's back to the commentary box then to rejoin Michael Duigan.
So here we are, August 19 to 2012, with the two counties that have dominated the game of hurling over the last number of years. Tipperary and Kilkenny have met 22 times previously in the championship, with Tipperary winning 13 times, Kilkenny 9. The scene is set, the Battle of Croke Park begins, a place in the All-Ireland final on the 9th of September against Galway awaits. TJ Reid lays it off quickly as Kilkenny, playing against the breeze, get the very first score. After just 12 seconds of play, Aidan Fogarty ends the move with a defence-splitting movement that began with TJ Reid, and there's a row down at the other end in front of Hill 16, and the referee is making a dash down there to try and stop what was going on while Aidan Fogarty was scoring the opening point. The linesman is there as well, and certainly, and already in its centre between the 45 and 65 there's another row. This is an incredible start, and obviously the referee, Cathal McAllister, in his second All-Ireland semi-final, is waving them all away, telling them all to cop on, basically, and get on with the game of hurling. Obviously, tempers afraid, the tension is palpable, and the business of getting to the All-Ireland final has to be sorted out.
Yeah, well, Marty, unbelievable off-the-ball stuff there. Jackie Turle is picking up Lara Corbett. Lara's trying to get away. Tommy Walsh is on Per Burke. Brian Hogan is on Bonner Marriott. They're all gone man-to-man, the Kilkenny backline.
Come back there is Michael Finlay. Patrick Bonner Marr lays it off. Tipperary trying to take advantage of the breeze in the opening half. Is this a very quick response? It's not. Ball goes wide off the stick of Noel McGrath.
And we talk about, Marty, about players not having positions, but they've really moved on. This is bringing it to a new level. Colin Fennelly's at right half forward for Kilkenny. Richie Power at centre forward. Tommy Walsh has got a yellow card now.
Tommy Walsh, while you were speaking there, Michael, had a little bit of an entanglement with Lara Corbett, and the words are being exchanged. And Lara Corbett is now chasing after Tommy Walsh in a verbal exchange. But certainly Colin McAllister spotted it and gave a yellow card immediately to Tommy Walsh.
And Jackie Turle is keeping very, very close tabs on Lara Corbett off the ball. He's absolutely all over him, and they're trying to move around to make space. But I was just saying, everybody has moved. Colin Fennelly is at right half forward, Richie Power at centre forward, Aidan Fogarty at left half forward, TJ Reid at right corner, Owen Larkin at full, and Henry Shefflin at left corner. All the Kilkenny forwards have moved around, and Tipper doing the same down the other end of the field.
Thomas Stapleton with the sideline cut. Kilkenny retrieve possession against the wind, remember, and certainly the wind has increased since the minor game was completed between Tipperary and Galway earlier, with Tipperary winning a place in the final. Comes back outside towards Michael Finlay. Grabbed instead by a half-forward line that will, well, positions mean little or nothing here. There's a break inside, gathered here by Brian O'Mara, taken down inside the arc, and there are shoulders being exchanged. There are certainly words being exchanged, and certainly this momentum has really, it's a blistering start by both Tipperary and Kilkenny, and all the tactical games being played by both managers.
Well, I'm delighted the game is on, Marty. There's so much talk for the last week. I was nearly for the first time in my life, I was fed up with talking about a game, and just what a start. It'll settle down, but and that's what Brian O'Mara, I think, brings to this Tipperary forward line this year. That sort of physicality. I think they learned last year they didn't have that type of a ball winner up front, and Brian O'Mara has been a key man throughout the year so far, and won that ball well and is fouled.
And Lara Corbett just getting a little bit of medical attention as he dons his helmet. This is how he got hit earlier. There's Lara Corbett and Jackie Turle. You can see there was just a knock there between them. not quite clear from that camera perspective.
Yeah, might have just got tangled up in his face guard, and those face guards are causing a lot of little nicks around the eyes and that.
Top scorer, Pa Burke, with a goal and 21 points coming into this championship All-Ireland semi-final, gets his first point.
Yeah, and a real confidence player, Marty. You know, he scored 6 goals, I think, for Thurles in the championship there a couple of weeks ago, 6-3, and you know, he'll be looking for a good start.
Tuck out by David Herity. And once again, as Tipperary go into the attack, Brian O'Mara trying to lay it back for his Lara Corbett. Pass wasn't great, comes instead to Shane McGrath. Nice turn. What about the shot? It's classy. Shane McGrath. Great score by the young hurler from Ballynahinch in North Tipperary.
Yeah, super score. Marty just, you know, knew where the posts were, as we say in hurling. He never looked, just knew where he was in the field, had no time, and that's a super score.
Tuck out a lengthy one from David Herity. Comes down first, Conor O'Mahony. Steps away from the challenge. Goes long again up towards Brian O'Mara and Bon O'Mara, who's operating in the full forward line. Coming forward is Paul Murphy. Nice skill by the cornerback. Takes a lovely step and drives it long towards Brendan Cummins. Good hands out of the veteran goalkeeper in his 71st championship match. 37 years of age since the 11th of May. The ball coming back to him again as Kilkenny go into the attack, and that is a brilliant score by Michael Fennelly. Scored a point against Limerick, scores a point against Tipperary.
Yeah, Brendan Cummins' clearance, Marty, a little bit loose out to Thomas Stapleton, and you know, he's going to be nervous enough without that, and Michael Fennelly picks it up and straight over to our great score as well.
Level for the second time in this All-Ireland semi-final. Ball sent in this time by Brendan Marr, swinging to the right and hopping over the end line and wide. Well, we've had 5 minutes of action. Let's see what happened here, Michael.
Thomas Stapleton and Michael Fennelly got inside the elbow there, and yeah, Thomas Stapleton was very wild there, but he didn't, you know, he obviously missed him, but a great score by Michael Fennelly, you know, and that's what, he's the key man back for Kilkenny now, and his power is going to be very, very crucial in this game.
Loose ball picked up this time by Conor O'Brien, playing really well. The ball has gone inside to Noel McGrath. Hegarty has to come off his line. It's back there, still McGrath. It's all over the place, and it's scooped away. It's Kilkenny live dangerously. Comes out first, Tommy Walsh. Drops it down into the centre towards Brian Hogan, who flicks it out towards his midfielder, Michael Ross. Goes long, down towards TJ Reid. Selected instead of Richie Hogan. Ball inside, who's obviously out for this particular match, and it's TJ that's battling hard for it. Owen Larkin is in there as well. Ball comes out towards Colin Fennelly. Linesman John Sexton.
Noel McGrath, if he got the first touch, it was a certain goal, broke away from him, and good little touch there by David Herity, and just got it away.
Sideline ball is not great. It comes towards Michael Cahill, another Thurles Sarsfield's man. Goes for distance, dropping down towards Brian Hogan. And Hogan, magnificent under the high ball. Gives it down towards his captain, Owen Larkin. Fouled by Conor Mahony.
He does best taking the frees there as well.
That gives you a pretty good idea of the angle that Henry Shefflin is facing. 10 points against Dublin, 1-8 against Galway, 2-6 against Limerick, and his very first point in the All-Ireland semi-final of 2012.
Yeah, very even start, and just interesting, Brian Hogan, I think, won 2 great high balls already off Bonner Maher, and Bonner's going to want to get into the game and stop Brian Hogan dominating.
Kilkenny working hard. Sending the ball up towards Owen Larkin. Was he being held? Owen Larkin is found guilty by the referee, saying he was pushing, not the other way around. So it's a free out for Brendan Cummins and for Tipperary.
Yeah, tall Corn getting out in front. There was very little in that, you know, he just used his body, and I don't know, I think a lot of those balls are very 50-50, and you can I think the forward sometimes, in the next forward, if you get pulled for those, or maybe a back could get away with it.
Well, Brendan Cummins has only scored once in his inter-county career. That was against Kilkenny in the 2010 All-Ireland final. Wind assisted, he's dropping this one in. Dangerous ball, great catch under the crossbar as Kilkenny come forward. That's Kieran Joyce coming, laying it off. As again, they go for distance. TJ Reid, Michael Cahill tries to back it down. There is Torrig Marr. Marr has to throw the sliotar high up into the air in case of being blocked. Good work this time by Richie Parr. Lays it off inside. Chance of an opportunity here, and it's well taken. Aidan Fogarty with his second point of the match. And Fogarty beginning to pose problems for Tipperary as he got inside the cover. Really good score.
Yeah, he's a very direct hurler, but just interesting there, Tariq Maher going back towards the goals, and that's something I think that Kilkenny will be working on, stopping him clearing those long balls up the field and to put the pressure on him straight away there.
Every puck out from Brendan Cummins going down in front of that far over side towards Noel McGrath. This one is floating in. Again, it's Kieran Joyce playing well. That's two fine catches that he's produced in this game. Up into the clouds goes Michael Finlay, trying to get away from the touch. Two Tipperary lads chasing after. Still Finlay doing what Pat Delaney did back in the 70s, hopping the slipper on the surface, but he loses possession. Noel McGrath gives it to Conor O'Mahony. Conor trots away, confident that a white flag will be raised, and that's exactly what's after happening down at the Hill 16 end. And it is now 4 points to 3 as Tipperary produce the goods.
That's a great score, Martin. But I think you'll get it. You know, people at home get a sense for how strong the wind is. That last free by Brendan Cummins and that puck there by Conor O'Mahony. Great catch by Richie Power.
What a catch by Richie. What a point by Richie Power. Straight from David Herity's puck out. Grabbed the sliotar in the air. No hanging about, no messing. Just drove it between the posts.
Yeah, he's very strong in the air. But just saying about the wind, Marty, it is strong in his favour and tip. So Kilkenny will be very happy with this start.
Brendan Cummins needs to change the direction of his puck outs as Kilkenny begin to win that side. Again, it comes down towards Owen Lark, and Brendan Cummins has to come out bravely on the ball. Hand passes it down the centre towards Conor O'Mahony. Great block down by Richie Power as Kilkenny chase absolutely everything. This is Brendan Maher sending it over diagonally over towards Brian O'Mara. Has to go on the motorbike to try and get over there, but the sideline.
Yeah, I thought Conor O'Mahony was a bit slow on the ball. You know, he had more time. He took a long time to clear the ball, and a great block down there by Richie Power.
Not a great sideline cut, however. Michael Finlay works tirelessly, but he'd stepped out over the sideline.
What Tip should do is move their forwards back into their original positions and see will Tipperary, get the Tipperary backs out of position. Because all they're doing at the moment is running around. None of them are playing a position, and all Kilkenny are doing is picking up loose ball, and Michael Finlay in particular in the middle of the field helping out the half back line. And you know, I think Tipper are playing into their hands at the moment.
Shane McGrath working hard and winning himself for free. And going to take it is Ta Burke. Won an All-Ireland minor 6 years ago, Ta Burke. Hoping to add to his collection and at least get into the final. And that's his second point of the match. Still 1 point between them. Plenty to talk about, and we just have about 13 minutes gone in the first half. Shane McGrath goes up, comes back, fires Thomas Stapleton. Owen Larkin is there with the green and red helmet. There is club colours of James Stevens and Kilkenny City. Again goes for distance. Going up high is Noel McGrath, and on landing turns beautifully like a ballet dancer and hits that sliotar straight over the black spot. And once again, Tipperary and Kilkenny are level in Croke Park, level for the third time.
Yeah, and we saw his younger brother John in the minor match beforehand, scored a couple of great points from play, another star in the making, and Noel McGrath, a great catch over Paul Murphy and straight over the bar. And we've seen some great high fielding so far. We've seen Kieran Joyce, 2 great catches, Brian Hogan, Richie Power, and it's a great feature of the game to date.
David Herity's puck out, comes down first, Conor O'Mahony finds himself under pressure immediately from Richie Power. Tenacious, hard work by TJ Reid. He's hard to stop once he gets the sliotar into the hand. Gives it back, fires Michael Reid onto the left hand, and that is straight between the posts. Michael Rice. Both midfielders for Kilkenny have now scored in this All-Ireland semi-final. But credit TJ Reid, he really worked hard.
He did, Marty, and the intensity in the tackling of the Kilkenny forwards is back today. Great catch again by Bonner-Maher.
Bonner-Maher to Lara Corbett. Richie Power almost getting a block in, taking on the challenge. Ta Burke has to go back first. Thomas Stapleton. Stapleton flicks it back for his Burke again. Available is Shane McGrath. But Ta Burke has the confidence to have a lash, but he sends it to the right and wide.
Yeah, but Mark, the tackling I was saying of the Kilkenny forwards maybe wasn't there in the Leinster final, but it's certainly there today, and particularly, as I say, when Pádraig Maher gets on the ball, he's been surrounded very, very quickly.
Tuck out goes straight down the middle. Richard Power got a touch, but it's Patrick Bonner-Maher that gathers it. Goes long again, down towards Noel McGrath. JJ Delaney sweetly giving it outside. As Kilkenny go for distance again. Down towards Owen Larkin, who's now operating at the edge of the square, despite number 12 in his back. Trying to get inside Paul Kern. He nips in Michael Powell. Good stuff from the terrier-like cornerback from Pearlistown. Wonderful play by the left cornerback. Kilkenny man down injured as the Tipperary lads go into the attack. Noel McGrath hits it, but the umpire is going to signal wide. Remains 6 points to 5. Getting a knock in that particular sequence was referees telling everybody to calm down. 16 minutes gone. We have 11 points between the two teams and plenty of talking points.
Yeah, Paul Murphy got a heavy knock there, and you know, Tara Burke a bad wide a minute ago, Noel McGrath another poor wide there, and Kilkenny in the middle of the field, Michael Rice and Michael Fennelly seem to be getting a bit of a foothold there, and they're winning an awful lot of possession.
Goes down fires Michael Fennelly. Aidan Fogarty has already scored twice. Ball inside, hops nicely for TJ Reid. He has the space, Fennelly is to his left, there's a goal opportunity. Oh, brilliant save by Brendan Cummins. The clearance is not made, here comes Owen Larkin, the pressure is still on Tipperary. It's inside the large rectangle, no penalty given. The ball comes out just a little bit, and it's a free out to the Premier County. But should it have been a penalty? Was it a free out? Michael Dignan.
Well, that passage of play could be crucial in the game. TJ Reid straight through and goes, did the unselfish thing, passed it over to Conal Fennelly. Brendan Cummins stayed on his feet very, very well. Then they failed to clear it, so we'll just get another look at Owen Larkin intercepted it here, gets the ball. You know, there wasn't enough that they held their ground and what they were supposed to do, and he went to ground, so I think the ref got it right.
Certainly looks like that he did, as the ball goes out over the sideline. There's a hard pull, and again there's a little bit of tension along the sideline. Let's just watch this again.
Yeah, wild enough pull there by Pádraig Maher, one-handed, and Tip win the line ball in, but that, you know, really Kilkenny don't miss goal chances like that. That was a great chance for a goal and they didn't take it, and it'll be interesting to see does that come back to haunt them.
Blood substitute on from Michael Rice. Brian Cody looks incensed as well, and he's coming out to John Sexton, and you see Brian Cody really annoyed, but he's very angry there as the ball continues on in towards the large rectangle. Paul Murphy is back there, and Kilkenny, you can see these two teams. There is an adrenaline rush on the pitch in Croke Park. Both of these counties really determined to win this All-Ireland semi-final. Kilkenny have introduced Killian Buckley for blood substitute, as a blood substitute for Michael Rice. So if you see number 22, that's Killian Buckley. Up goes TJ Reid. Brilliantly caught. Hits a shot. That is a magnificent score by TJ Reid.
Yeah, and he's been much more involved in the game. Just watch it again here. An absolutely brilliant catch. A player, you know, that comes into the game under pressure because, you know, when he started, it doesn't normally go as well as when he comes on as a sub. But that's a great catch and a great point, and he's really working hard so far in the game.
Kilkenny with a 2-point advantage. Comes out first, JJ Delaney. Plays the ball down that far sideline. Out there first, Paul Kern, ahead of Owen Larkin. Goes high up towards Lark Corbett. Ball is there, available. Gathering it is Brian O'Mara, giving inside to Patrick Bonner-Maher, but the referee's whistle is blown.
Lara seems to be, you know, he's running all over the place, hasn't settled down, and I think Tipper a little bit like that. He's getting involved, you know, doing a lot of talking to other Kilkenny players, and, you know, I think Tip need to settle, but they're going to be delighted only a point down now at this stage.
Hard work with his 3rd point of the match, all of them from frees, and now just 1 point between the teams. Batted away by Noel McGrath. Only far is Brian Hogan. He's going for it. Brendan Cummins, safe and sound as always, lays it off quickly. to his left corner back, Michael Cahill. Lar Corbett, first touch. Hurler of the year 2010. Skips away from the challenge. In fires Pa Burke. It's a Hurler Sarsfield special. It could have been if it worked out. Pa Burke is on the floor. Tipperary players are protesting to the referee. And again, Colin McAllister, his coolness personified.
Yeah, great hand pass here by Lara. What he does into Pa Burke, and Tommy comes across there. Didn't see very much there again, and I think Colin McAllister again got it right.
I think Pa kind of hit the deck rather easily, to be honest.
Well, you won't get soft frees with Colin McAllister.
No, that's for sure, but there's still Tipperary with the slither. The referee has given a free in this time.
As I speak.
But to be fair to Colin McAllister, the games I've seen him, he allows play to develop, and he allows a lot of the physical side of the game.
Here's Pa Burke there, and was it Tommy coming in from behind? Yeah, it was maybe just a little nudge on the back there. He lets the game flow within the rules. I think at the starter he was sensible. There was a lot of stuff going on, and if he started pulling everything and pulling players aside, he would have stopped the whole momentum of the game, and he's let it develop, and we've had a great first 20 minutes, plenty of good scores, and it's settled down. In fairness, there hasn't been a dirty stroke in the game so far.
This is Pa Burke. And the way he's, the body language would suggest he might have a crack at this.
He has the wind behind him.
Here's Burke. Going for brilliantly stop, comes back out to him again. Still available. It's on the small rectangle. John O'Brien is there, and the umpire has his arm raised to say it is a 65 for Tipperary. But a brilliant shot from Pa Burke, but an equally brilliant save here. Just watch. He hit a rasper, stopped by Tommy Walsh.
Yeah, it was a great save, and the rebound, if you watch Michael Fennelly coming in after the rebound here, if it goes to it, he made a very important interception. He got his hurling when Pa Burke went to double on it.
Of course, many of these young players were part of his Tipperary minor team that won the All-Ireland 5 years ago. Pa Burke looks, focuses, and hits it spot on. 4 points for Pa Burke in this All-Ireland semi-final, and the sides level for the 4th time.
Yeah, and his free taking looks very, very assured today, and Kilkenny will have to be careful giving away frees because he strikes the ball very, very well.
Puck out by David Herity, and again it's TJ Reid. Brilliant under the high ball, down towards Fennelly. Takes the shoulders, skips away from Michael Cahill, and goes towards goal with the short grip. That's a really, really quality point by Colin Fennelly. He took the hits, he worked hard, used the short grip, and floated it over the bar.
That's a super score, Marty. Great first touch and gets away. And you'd have to say all the Kilkenny forwards so far have looked to have the beaten of their men, and yet they're only a point ahead.
Loose ball comes out first, Brendan Maher. Hits a shoulder on Brian Hogan. Killian Buckley is the number 22. Still on for the injured Michael Rice. Ball into Specs. Paul Kern should get there first. Chased by Owen Larkin. I think Paul was already trying to but it's a soft 65 for Kilkenny.
Great catch again there by TJ Reid.
TJ Reid is brilliant under the high ball, isn't he?
He is absolutely brilliant, having a great game. But I was saying that the Kilkenny forwards are throughout the field generally, you couldn't say any Tipperary man is really dominating, and yet there's only a point in the game, and they'll be happy with that.
Henry Shefflin try and stretch the Cats' lead to 2 from this 65. Straight over the bar. So with 24 minutes gone, it's Kilkenny 9 points, Tipperary 7. Let's go down to the sideline to Claire McNamara.
Yes, Marty, we understand that Michael Rice just gone off there for treatment for a hand injury. He is now going to go to hospital, so his semi-final is over.
Sad news for Michael Rice, and a big blow indeed for Kilkenny. Thanks very much, Claire, as the ball goes back down in towards Conor O'Brien and Michael Cahill. Both cornerbacks are there, half blocked by Fennelly. Cahill comes in to assist his colleague, and that goes out over the end line.
That's a 65.
Should be a 65.
I think it was, yeah. I think looking at it initially, I thought it was a 65. We'll get a chance to look at it again here. If you look at Michael Cahill there, he kicks it out over the line, and that's definitely a 65.
Long puck out from Brendan Cummins. Once again, it's Kieran Joyce. bursting out of that Kilkenny defence, full of heart, full of spirit.
And I think that incident that Michael Rice, when he hurt the hand, to go back to it, Pádraig Maher came up and pulled a wild stroke with one hand on the sideline. Now he did, it was down on the ball, but it was one-handed, and obviously the hurl flew up along and caught Michael Rice, and I think that's why Brian Cody got so animated at the time. He wasn't happy about the stroke.
We believe it's a tendon injury in his hand. We wish Michael Rice a quick recovery as Tipperary go back into the attack. And it's the first time that I've seen TJ Reid actually been beaten for a high ball, and that was by Pádraig Maher.
That's right, and that's the first time I think Pádraig Maher has been in the game. And Tommy Walsh hasn't been in the game, and Lara Corbett hasn't been in the game. And, you know, it's amazing. You spend the week talking about players, and sometimes, you know, the ball avoids them in the game or whatever, but it's a long way to go yet.
And here comes Henry. To his right, Richie Power. To his left, TJ Reid. Goal on here. Brilliant goal. A little piece of magic from one of the greatest teams we've seen. Shefflin had options available. Richie to his right, TJ to his left. He went left, and the result is what you see on your screen. Right into the back of the net.
Marty, that's a brilliant goal. If you watch Henry Shefflin going through, he changed hands, hand passed the ball with his right hand, about a 20-yard pass into TJ Reid, and a brilliant goal.
It changes that scoreline dramatically. Kilkenny 1-9, Tipperary 7 points. And remember, Kilkenny are without Michael Rice, as Claire told us a short time ago, is heading to hospital with a tendon injury in that hand. And it's very seldom you see Brian Cody so animated, so angry along the sideline. But that tells the story there as the ball is dropping in. Dangerous ball, batted away by Michael Cahill. Coming forward is Michael Finlay. Getting a little hurl in is Shane McGrath. Picked up by O'Mahony to Shane McGrath. Two North Tipperary lads. And between them, unfortunately, they can't clear it. Under pressure, the linesman, James McGrath, indicates that it is a Kilkenny ball.
That was incredible play by Michael Finlay. Conor O'Mahony got it, he couldn't get away from him. He gave it back to Shane McGrath. And just the pure power of him. He just completely overpowered both Conor O'Mahony and Shane McGrath there, and Kilkenny ended up winning the line ball.
Quick sideline cut from TJ Reid for his own Larkin, sending it in low. Easily cut out by Thomas Stapleton. Using the wind to his backs. Remember, Tipperary are playing with the wind in this first half. Coming across is Richie Power, 14 in his back, but playing at centre half forward. Steps by the challenge, the referee has many steps, and that's going to be a free for the Premier County.
Yeah, but Kilkenny look much sharper, Marty, much fresher, and you know, they're winning all the 50-50 battles at the moment.
Ball drops in. David Herity is there, behind a pretty impressive full back line so far. Paul Murphy, JJ Delaney and Jackie Terrell. Ball again aimed at TJ Reid. O'Larkin is hovering. Reid showing some nice stick work. Gathers it into the hand, and away he goes again. But this time he passes it straight to Brendan Maher. Maher first, Shane McGrath. Two midfielders combining. Goes long up towards Patrick Bonner-Maher. And this time Kilkenny, not surprisingly, wins the one-to-one tussle up front. Coming forward is Jackie Terrell. Three Tipperary lads around him. Gives it for his own Larkin. Once domiciled in the full forward line, now out around midfield. Goes for distance. Trying to get a shot in was Colin Finlay. Picked up this time by Pádraig Maher. Puts the brakes on, changes direction, uses the short grip, and goes down towards Patrick Bonner-Maher. Coming across is Noel McGrath. Lara Corbett, Padwork, David Herity. Herity loses the possession. It's into Padwork. It's a goal for Tipperary. More drama in Croke Park as this story changes chapters, second by second, minute by minute. First it was TJ Reid with a cracker, then comes this as the Thurles lads came in. Lara Corbett, fair challenge, and David Herity comes for his Burke and into the back of the net.
Absolutely, Marty, fair attack. I was going to criticise Lara for being a bit slow onto the breaking ball, and David Herity won't like to see that one again. He should have really had it collected, and you know, brings Tip back into the game again.
Now, psychological advantage for the moment is with the Premier County, the Munster champions. This ball sent in by Brian O'Mara, but the ball is to the right and wide. Half an hour gone, 1-9, 1-7. Most enjoyable.
Yeah, Lara Corbett down injured now, and Looks like a hamstring problem. He won't run it off, but he looks to be okay now. He seems to be really focusing on Tommy Walsh, Lara Corbett. He's following him all over the place, and Tommy's on yellow card, and I don't really like to see what Lara Corbett's at out there, to be totally honest with you. It's nothing to do with hurling, and you know, it's not something I've seen out of him before, but he's not concentrating on the game at all.
Ball comes over to O'Larkin as we'll keep an eye on Tommy Walsh and Lara Corbett, not just on your screens, but indeed off camera as well. Kilkenny, how incensed. Dissent from Henry Shefflin, who expressed his view. And there's an extra 13 metres for Tipperary.
Yeah, look, there wasn't a lot in it again. You know, the tackles that are going in the game, but you know, some are being let away and some aren't. And you know, a good heavy hit on Brendan Maher, and he was getting up. There was maybe an arm across him, but they're marginal calls.
He's already scored a goal and 4 points. This is Pa Burke. Hits it absolutely beautifully. And there's a man on form. David Herity with the puck out. Drops it down. And it's Shane McGrath. Blistering pass. Not a great pass, I must say, but it could still work out for Brian O'Mara. Paul Murphy picked up an injury, but he managed to get the hand pass in. Finlay battling here with Paul Kerr. Down first Porrick Maher, and as he fell to the ground, hits it, an almighty wallop. Down towards Brian O'Mara. Lara Corbett has gone inside. O'Mara, Noel McGrath hits it quickly on the 45 and registers another point for Tipperary, and the sides are level for the 5th time in 33 minutes of action.
Yeah, and Marty, to be fair to Brian O'Mara, he's really, you know, shown great leadership in the Tipperary attack. He won that ball again and laid it off straight away to Noel McGrath. He's had a hand in 4 or 5 scores now, and he's doing very, very well.
Ball breaks for Richie Parr. High challenge, it would appear, by Porrick Maher. Referee has blown his whistle. 1 minute of additional time just been announced here. Each other.
Well, Tommy isn't following him at all. Lara just keeps following it. It's like he's trying to pick up Tommy Walsh. He keeps following him and trying to annoy him.
Henry Shefflin hits this to the right and wide. It's rather funny to watch, Michael, because it looks like Lara Corbett wants to mark Tommy Walsh rather than the other way around.
He wants to get his attention anyway, but you know, you have to say great comeback by Tipperary. They were 5 points down a few minutes ago, and you know, if they had blinked, they could have been gone out of the championship, and great comeback by them.
Kieran Joyce clearance was not a good one. Comes far as Noel McGrath, but that's well. We're into injury time, and obviously the umpire now raises his arm to signal the referee's decision to give this 65. And remember, Tipperary playing with wind advantage, so possibly could drop this in high and hopefully maybe go in leading at the break.
Well, that's it, and you know, as I said, there were 5 points down, and what a huge, you know, 7 or 8 minutes by Tipperary coming up to half time, and if they go in a point up now, that's some turnaround. And as I said earlier, you know, Kilkenny would have done most of the hurling and won a lot of the 50-50 battles, but you know, it's a sign of how good Tipperary are and how dangerous they are.
Referee Carl McAllister just telling Michael Finlay to get back the sufficient distance. It's Pa Burke standing over. Here he comes. And there is the point. His free taking has been a model of consistency in the opening half. And it gives Tipperary a 1-point advantage with 1 minute of injury time now played. And the referee, Carl McAllister, blows the half-time whistle. Tipperary and Kilkenny head to the dressing room after a most pulsating opening half in this All-Ireland semi-final. A goal by TJ Reid after 27 minutes certainly give Kilkenny an advantage, but Pa Burke responded 3 minutes later. The sides have been level 5 times in the first.
We expect and ask so much of these games the last couple of years between these two sides. They don't disappoint.
Oh my God, look at the start of that game. I haven't seen a start like that since the 1998 replay between Clare and Waterford below Thomas.
We should have told people not to sit too close to the telly.
Exactly, put your helmet on watching it on television, because the early exchanges, both physical and verbal, were absolutely ferocious, you know, and the pace of the game after that, it just never, it was relentless. It just never gave up. And all the pre-match analysis about who were going to be the stars all went out the window, because the like Lar and Henry Shefflin, Tommy Welch were all out of the game. But it was played in, like, you know, the danger is that someone will analyse this in a video and start blaming people for what went on and see who hit who. That's rubbish. Those things happen at the start of the game. There's no one injured. Hard physical exchanges, then the game has settled down. Now, Kilkenny grabbed the initiative after that. They did the better hurling. They were more incisive in the forwards. But the real important part here, I think, I know, you know, you see all those kind of exchanges early on in the game. The really important thing here is Tipperary, since they got the goal, that Per Burke goal, 10 minutes, from the 26th minute on, they've outscored Kilkenny by 1-3 to no score.
Yeah.
So now Tipperary are going in, having grabbed the initiative. The question is, can they hold it? Or will Kilkenny come out and respond to that now? Now, they were watching all those exchanges, shouldering and messing and shoving around.
I think the referee was right at that stage, because I mean, if he was going to flash yellow cards all over, we'd have had no teams, right? I mean, at times you would say the referee, Colin McAllister, he's from Cork, he's known for not blowing the whistle. You'd wonder, was there a P at all in the whistle? Because at times he just left the play go. And look, it has made for the first half, to be fair.
But what I agree with you, and I love what's happening, you have to say, where are the rule books? Like, you go to a minor match, Joe, you'll be coaching him. I know, hold on.
I mean, it's a man's
fine,
game,
Tomas,
right?
but you can't have one. You can't have one rule.
What was he going to do in the first half? Slap yellow cards for the first exchanges?
Wait a second now, Tomas. You can't have a rule book, one rule for a championship hurling, and you have another rule for the first round. I don't mind, but I'm just saying to you.
What rules did he break?
I agree.
I'm just saying to you, Tomas, you can't have it everywhere.
I agree with both of you, but I looked out here and I counted 5 rows in 5 different areas going on at the same time. So how could you possibly just pick out somebody and send them on after that? That happens. This is the 4th meeting. It was always going to be, we were all going to have a kind of a conflagration to start.
I think it would have been a problem if it continued. They all got to know each other. They carried on.
He flashed the first yellow card to Tommy Walsh, and it seemed to die straight away then after that, because they knew anybody else that was going to break the line.
But the point I'm making is this, that refs, and I'm not blaming that ref, like, because as far as you say, you could send off 10. They're doing their own rules. Like, they're being assessed all year. Now, how do you assess that? I'm just saying to you, if that was first round championship, you know well, there'd be at least a 2 ways sent off.
I'll tell you what, we'll assess it for the GA. It was great old practice. Let's look at the Kilkenny goal, Ger, because this put a gap between the two sides that really put Kilkenny in the driving seat.
Yeah, you know, it was 9 points to 7. Kilkenny were 2 points ahead when Henry Shefflin got the ball here. And, you know, he had been doing nothing before this. But look at the vision he has here. Reid breaks away from his man, leaves that bit of gap. Paulick Maher doesn't close it down, and this time he hits it into the ground and puts it into the net. Before that, remember, Colin Finlay got a chance, didn't hit it hard enough. But the pass from Shefflin there is absolutely brilliant, and the finish couldn't be better. Down into the ground, give Cummins no chance. Cummins had made 2 great saves before that. Down into the ground, ball into the net. It opened up a 5-point lead. Crucial thing there was how Tip responded. That was the really, really vital thing, and Per Burke's goal was central to that.
They responded well in their play. Now, there was a certain element to the goal that I suppose was fortuitous. It must be a nightmare for any goalkeeper to find himself 1-on-1 with the forward, in this case with 2 forwards.
Yeah, and the key, as George said, was the response from Tipperary. They could die to death. They're going 5 points down, say this game was over. And once it breaks inside, look, I think it's Brian O'Mara gets the flick in. The key thing here is that Laird doesn't give up the challenge. Now, the goalkeeper isn't the strongest, physically strong, but the key here, Laird does not give up the ghost there. He keeps going.
He's inclined to arrive in the scene quicker than most.
Absolutely, but I mean, it's a fair shoulder, and the ball breaks, and it's put into the back of the net. No, it's a lucky goal for Tipperary. It's probably one that Kilkenny you never see within that 10 minutes of that first half period. Great response by Tipperary.
You talked about the importance of Kilkenny midfield before the match. They've lost one of those midfielders.
Well, I've been watching Michael Finlay as well while the game is on, and he's not moving with the same pace at all. He's not coming into the forward, he's just holding space. Now, look at this ball here. I know there'll be complaints that maybe Paulick Maher went in with one hand into this, but Maher has his eye on the ball. He often pulls with one hand. He comes in, hits him a shoulder, pulls with one hand, and it's just unfortunate that the hurley slides up, hits him in the finger. Probably a broken finger right there. If he was dislocated, he'd be back on. Just one of those unfortunate accidents. Nothing dirty in that whatsoever.
But Michael, a big thing today is that Per Burke is transferring his club hurling to the county hurling. He's always threatened to do that. Babs Keaton had him on as an 18-year-old. He's been doing
decides to do a DVD on his saves. It'll actually be a box set to begin with straight off. Another one to add to the collection today.
Yeah, I mean, the key, I suppose, for Tipperary not to be conceding too many goals against Kilkenny, and this guy started very, very well, Aidan Fogarty, and that's a great ball inside, breaks inside to TJ Reid, and he has been fantastic. I mean, got his start today, great ball inside. You would put your house on Colin Fennelly to bury this into the back of the net. But Brendan Cummins has done what he's done so many times in the past, gets his body across, and then inside you get the ball breaking inside. The key was that they get it back out again and they get a free. So, I mean, fantastic stop. And look, you can see the reaction from the defenders around them. They know themselves. He's made a great stop there.
You're right, and the defending afterwards. Look at the defending after the save. Absolutely brilliant. Maharin, Corden there, all surround the man until eventually I think it's Mickey Cahill gets the ball and breaks forward. You know, he's not alone to save, but the work of all the other defenders as well. The follow-up, that was crucial. The ball didn't go in after a great save like that. And all the defenders in swarmed in. Mickey Cahill got it, broke forward, got a free out. That was a massive psychological boost to Tipperary.
71st championship game, by the way, Brendan Cummins is playing for Tipperary today. That's some...
To come off the bench, and you'd say Tipperary have the stronger bench here. You would expect the likes of maybe your Woodlock at some stage to come into play, Shamar, Dunamar, whatever, Owen Kelly to come in, Canlan, you know. So you would look that Tip maybe have the stronger bench at this stage.
And Killian Buckley is already on, you see, for Richie Guy might come on.
What you'll see now, of course, is a ferocious assault by Kilkenny on the Tipperary goal that is after this game. This is what they always do after half time, especially when they're down. And they'll go for goal now early on. If Tip can resist that, if Tip can hold out there and wait till 10 or 15 minutes to go, bring in the like of Shane Burke, maybe Owen Kelly, Seamus Canlan, who can run at the defence, then this game is theirs for the winning, really. You know, they're in the ascendancy right now after scoring their 1-3 to no score in the last 10 minutes. It's their game, but there's going to be a massive assault on that Tipperary goal now by Kilkenny. If they're capable of doing it, that's the question.
This is a question because people were saying before this match, that this game was hard to call. And it hasn't changed too much after 35 minutes.
And I would think they're two good hurling teams. But I would think the fittest team this time is going to win because there's a trouble lot of hard physicality knocks going in. Someone is going to be worn down into it, you know, and whoever gets the lucky break will probably win it, you know. But I still have a feeling that Kilkenny could edge it, even though they're not. Tipper gone in very, very. Tipper the happier team at half time, there's no doubt about that.
On a slightly sidebar issue, Tomas is slightly worried. Where was the rule book when we were playing Kilkenny a couple of weeks ago?
Absolutely, you weren't saying that 2 weeks ago.
The angle I'm coming from is this, like, you see that there on television. I'm talking about the people at home. Like, there's hits going in. I like it, and the referee could do nothing probably about it. But you have to, like, you can't have lads swinging hurls in one another, hitting lads off the ball. There's a rule there supposed to be. If you run in the second man into the fights or the third man in, you're supposed to be at least booked. Sure, the name of God Almighty. I'm not saying it was easy for him. So he did the right thing. But like, someone is going to have to call it sometime. Because if that happened in a first round Leinster Championship or a Munster Championship, you'd have lads gone off left, right, and centre. And because it's semi-final, it shouldn't be any different. But it's hard. The tension is there, and it's gone over now. So we'll have a good second half.
It'll be a great second half again.
I'd say the tension will be gone out of this match around 5 o'clock.
That tension is gone.
All right, lads, thanks for all of that. Teams back out, as you can see. Back to the commentary box, Michael Dyken.
Thank you very much, Michael. As you mentioned, 50,220 here in Croke Park, and thoroughly enjoying a pulsating contest. What's waiting for them is Galway on the 9th of September in the All-Ireland Hurling Final.
Marty, that's the best one I've seen. The ref throwing the ball and Tip of only 14 on the field. Our Corbett hasn't come back out yet, wherever he is. He probably knew that Jackie Turley would be waiting at the tunnel for him. But I don't know where he is, but he's not out in the field.
And well spotted is right, Michael. And indeed, as we were watching the sliotar flying out over the sideline, there is still a player available. Killian Buckley is on the field and will remain on the field until Brian Cody decides to take him off, obviously, because Michael Rice's injury. And now Lar Corbett has been welcomed back onto the pitch rather belatedly. And again, we have more of what we saw at the start of the first half, with more shouldering and shoving and pushing going on behind the scenes, as eventually Tommy Walsh takes up Pat Burke. And meanwhile, while all that was going on, we've got a point for Kilkenny.
Henry Shefflin put over a free there, and that is bizarre to say the least. And I'd like to see Lar coughing himself on a bit here and starting to hurl instead of going on with some sort of a side shot that nobody has any interest in. It's nothing to do with hurling.
What exactly delayed Lar Corbett, we do not know, but he was late arriving back onto the field. And the referee wasn't going to wait for him. As Colin Fennelly swings a ball across over towards Aidan Fogarty, who arrives in spectacular fashion. Great catch, makes room for himself, flings it between the posts. Wonderful score by Aidan Fogarty, who has now scored 3 times, all of them from play.
Well, he has, and what an attitude this man has. He's as tough as nails. He won a great ball in the air there and turned, and he's on Thomas Stapleton, who I mentioned before the game, has no experience at this level from the defender point of view, and he scored now 3 points from play.
Here's Noel McGrath having a shot from way out the field. David Herity is there. It seems to hit off the post or hit off his hurl. Patrick Bonamar trying to get inside the cover, trying to fire the bullet, pull the trigger, didn't quite do so. Kilkenny are back there in their numbers, including Paul Murphy at the right corner back in the left corner back position. The ball seemed to have gone out over the end line. The umpire has his arm raised momentarily, and he's now gone to the exact position the slither went over the line, and he's giving a 65 to Tipperary.
Yeah, and while we were trying to figure out where Lara was, Kilkenny have got 2 points and gone into the lead, but great defending there by JJ Delaney. You know, Bonner Maher broke onto the ball. JJ just stood his ground and held him out and showed his experience. And there's off. Then David Hurley didn't really know where that was. But you see the influence of the wind there. Noel McGrath didn't get the distance, and it'll be interesting to see Tarbork now at 65 into the wind. And that's a super strike.
Great score. He's now got a personal tally of a goal and 7 points, and the sides level again for the 7th time in this match. David Herity with the puck out. That slither hitting the post, didn't hit off his hurl at all. Certainly caused a bit of panic in Kilkenny. Killian Buckley off camera. There's another row developing. That ball is sent in by Buckley. That's left and wide, and the referee, I think, will actually have to take control of this and issue a yellow card, because this is becoming a sideshow.
What's happening is Lara Corb is following Tommy Walsh around. He's running. Tommy Walsh is on a yellow card since very early in the game, and to me it looks like Lara Corb is trying to get involved in something with Tommy Walsh, and it's absolutely disgraceful carry on.
Ball is just barely kept in, nicked away by Thomas Stapleton. Working hard is Brian O'Mara, comes back towards Stapleton again, picked up almost by Noel McGrath. This is Killian Buckley. Steps away from the challenge of Patrick Bonamara and hits it long. A little bit of pressure. Owen Larkin underneath it. Ball comes free for us, Colin Finlay. The referee spotted the infringement, and he's given a free in to Kilkenny, which should stretch their lead again. There's Paul Curran battling with Owen Larkin here. And eventually the referee spotted the push, and he's given the free to the Cats.
Yeah.
The referee needs to take action on this.
Well, I know who needs to take action. Declan Ryan. You know, and
Henry Shefflin takes the point and stretches Kilkenny's nose just in front by 1 again.
And I think, Marty, the physical power of the Kilkenny full forward line in this half could tell, you know, there's a strong wind behind them. You've got Colin Fennelly, Owen Larkin and Henry Shefflin in there, and, you know, Tip don't have Michael Cahill and Conor Bryan aren't the biggest men in the world, and it'll be interesting to see. I expect Kilkenny to play very, very direct hurling.
Remember, as Michael mentioned, Tommy Walsh is on a yellow card from the start of the game. JJ Delaney carries David Herity. Dropping down towards Aidan Fogarty. Breaking ball picked up by TJ Reid. Running at the Tipperary defence, being pursued by Pat Burke and Conor O'Mahony. TJ's efforts goes well wide of the target. Quick puck out from Brendan Cummins. Switching play over to the far overside towards John O'Brien. Gets a little bit of space for the first time in this All-Ireland semi-final. And John O'Brien from Tumivara puts his name on the score sheet for the very first time. And once again, the Cats and the Premier County are level. 8 times level.
That's a great score, Marty. Great puck out by Brendan Cummins and John O'Brien, and what a hard week he's had, and condolences to him and Paddy and all the family, and he's a great man to be here at all today.
Ball is swept down towards Michael Fennell. There's a little jersey pull. It's going to be a free for Kilkenny, just inside their own half of the field. Lara Corbett off camera is trying to tell the linesman that the free should be further back. And to the credit of the referee and indeed the linesman, they've now placed the slither in the right place. Gone back to take this free inside his own half of the field is Richie Powell. He scored 1 point in the first half.
I think, to be fair to Lara, he's right there. I think that free was 7 or 8 yards. I know Jackie hurling Lara at it again.
They're taking scalps off each other, digging each other with the hurls, as Richie Power puts this over the bar, and the referee has taken the action that's required, I feel, and given a yellow card to Lar Corbett and a yellow card to Jackie Tyrrell. And perhaps now Lar will concentrate on what its primary purpose is, which is to play hurling and not to be chasing Tommy Walsh. Puck out, comes down towards Brendan Marr. Gets a little touch to it. Kilkenny back in the attack. Great catch once again, this time by Henry Sheffler, laying it off for his penalty. Oh, that's a brilliant hook by Michael Cahill, coming to Tipperary's rescue at precisely the right time. And that is a 65, and there's a more arguments and physicality this time going on between Pádraig Marr, who seemed to pull on Henry Shefflin a little bit high as we watch this again.
Yeah, well, what a catch by Henry Shefflin. First of all, Colin Fennelly went inside. Now the referee allowed the advantage there. A lovely touch into Colin Fennelly and a great block down there by a hook by Michael Cahill. And I agree with you, Marty. I think when the ball did go out for the 65, Pádraig Marr seemed to pull a little bit of a stroke on Henry Shefflin, but it's a 65 now. Richie Power's actually taking it.
A sideshow that's attracting the crowd at the off camera. The four lads, two from Tipperary.